baby's percolating.
Hey Alpha Gal, listen up, somebody tagged you. Flying Squirrel Outdoors.
You know what they want?
He's got 10 questions for you. First off is tell us a little more about yourself. Who are you?
My trail name is Alpha Gal, and the reason for that is I got bit by one of the Lone Star ticks and became allergic to anything that comes from something with hair. So beef, pork, milk, anything from cows, gelatin, all that stuff I'm pretty allergic to now, so I avoid all that. I'm almost vegan with a little chicken added around the edges.
Hey, that's really interesting. So when did you start hiking?
So I started hiking in my early teens, mostly with Boy Scout troop. We had a very active Boy Scout troop, and we would do Appalachian Trail sections in Connecticut, and pretty much we would get out at least every month all year round, which was a lot of fun, and it got me trained and used to hiking and how to equip yourself for different weather conditions and things like that, and I began to enjoy it quite a bit. Also, our family would go to the White Mountains in New Hampshire, and we would do a lot of the easy hikes, the flume and some gorge stuff. We'd get to the top of Cannon Mountain, hike around up there, and of course in and around the top of Mount Washington. We never did any serious backpacking. It was mostly day trips and easy hikes, but they were a lot of fun.
Okay, so you like hiking, but do you backpack?
Do I backpack? Of course I backpack. Yes, absolutely. And I really like backpacking. Most of the scout work we did was a mix of backpacking and car camping, and then we transitioned to backpacking, which I liked a lot. And then just recently, maybe a couple years ago, started working toward section hiking the Appalachian Trail. So I've been doing small sections in that, done from lower Pennsylvania down through pretty much completed the Shenandoah National Park. So it's a few hundred miles, and most of those have been in and outs with 1 or 2 nights overnight. But yeah, I really like backpacking. As I've started backpacking more, it's been fun playing with different types of gear. Really an evolution to try and get lighter gear and lighter gear and lighter gear and lighter cook kits. It's been a lot of fun. The journey's fun.
So you like hiking and you backpack. What's your favorite trail food?
What's my favorite trail food? This is an interesting one because it's changed radically over the last year. It used to be that I'd get really cheeses and meat sticks and stew type things that could be cooked easily and not make a giant mess while hiking. Some dehydrated foods to stay light, and basic peanut butters and things like that. However, since I've gotten the Alpha Gal thing, the meats and cheeses are all out, so I'm still exploring how to eat better on the trail and how to keep my calorie count up and have the food still taste good. I've been doing a lot of the chicken varieties of Mountain House meals to stay light again, and then really nut butters and fruits, a lot of fruits. I haven't played with vegetables on the trail yet, tend to be a little heavy. There's a number of snack bars, nut bars, granola bars, Sour Patch Kids, Swedish Fish, Dum Dums, a whole bunch of candy that's dairy free that I still eat. Things like Snickers are out. I've never been the backpack gourmet type, so my meals now tend to be very simple. If you can boil it, I'll eat it. Oatmeal, grits, eggs.
Have you gone on any really long hikes? What's your longest hike?
My longest hike actually hasn't been that big. It's on the order of 25 miles. And the funny thing about that is I got frustrated partway through. I missed a campsite that I wanted to stay at. And so I just kept going and ended up doing For the most part, it was a 22-mile single day, which was really my largest one-day hike, and it also played into a weekend that had my longest hike. So I've not done like 3-day overnighters or week-long overnighters. I've generally been in and out with resupplies. Actually no resupplies.
Do you have any trails you like? What are your most repeated trails?
My most repeated trail is the trail I'm on right now. This is the 7.5-mile loop around St. Mary's Lake in St. Mary's County, Maryland. It's a gentle trail with a lot of routes, a little bit of ups and downs. It's very popular. They allow mountain biking around the pond and a lot of fishing out there. Largemouth bass, crappie, and chain pickerel seem to be what's mostly out there. Recently I've started doing quite a bit of fishing, actually a little bit of fishing, and it's been fun. So I'm kind of mixing it up between hiking and fishing. Mostly hiking still though. Area that I plan to go back to a lot and spend a lot of time in is Shenandoah National Park. There are over 500 miles of trail in the Shenandoah National Park, and I've only done the narrow Appalachian Trail kind of right along Skyline Drive through the middle. So there's a lot of time I have to get through there and see all the cool things.
All right, so now we know a little bit about you. How about bucket list hikes? What are some places that you really, really want to get to hike to?
Bucket list 3 hikes. That's a big one. So obviously I want to complete the Appalachian Trail as a through hike. I may end up completing it as a section hike before I do a through hike. And with the method I'm doing my section hikes in and outs, I'll actually have completed the trail twice prior to doing a through. I've still not decided whether I want to go northbound or southbound, and I also don't know if I want to do it in the winter or the normal schedule through the spring and summer and fall. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. I tend to like colder weather. However, the mountains can get pretty nasty in the winter. I'm not sure if I want to do a full-on winter hike, but we'll see. The next on the list is, in terms of bucket list hikes, I really want to get to Everest Base Camp. I'm going to go to Paul and hike through that area and basically hike all the way to the base camp, see what that's all about, and come back. It looks very, very interesting. And so I've got that on the list. And the other place I want to go, I wouldn't really call it a hike, although it could be a little bit of a hike, is I really do want to see the South Pole. I want to get all the way down to the very bottom of the planet and go do that. I'll add one more thing that is not a hike, but it's a long distance, long period of time thing. As a sailor, I am very interested in doing a circumnavigation. So that's another thing on the bucket list, is to do a sailing circumnavigation.
So are you a map and compass guy, or do you like to use GPS and other electronics?
GPS or compass and map. I will refer you to my 5 favorite items video up above, and one of those items is my GPS. I take it everywhere I go. I load topographic maps in there so I can see what the trail looks like ahead, and also where all the relevant waypoints are, shelters, water. And as I find more shelters, campsites, and water, I dump those waypoints into GPS. And also, like Flying Squirrel has mentioned, I use it to archive everywhere I've been. So I've got a snail trail of pretty much every hike that I've done. And certainly I collect those for the Appalachian Trail section hiking. I always have a map with me, some kind of map that's reasonably close to the area I'm hiking, if not the exact area I'm hiking, just so I know what's around in case I have to get out. and I've never actually used it on a hike, but I have a compass that I keep with me, and it's just one of those things that go in the 10 items you're always supposed to have with you. Amongst them are a compass. So yes, I use GPS, but I have a map and compass with me just in case. And it's also easier to sit down and read a map when you're in camp than it is to surf around on a phone or hang out with a GPS. And also, I carry a guidebook when I'm on the AT. It's a mix of the AWOL's guide and the Appalachian Trail guidebook from White Blaze that I use. Go to the front page of the White Blaze website. There's a link to a very, very good guidebook that they have available. It's very inexpensive.
And who do you like to hike with when you're out on the trail? Do you hike alone, in groups?
Who do I hike with? Really, there's only a couple of answers to this. One is I like to hike with my wife. She picked up hiking a couple years ago with me and started doing portions of the Appalachian Trail, and plans to be really my support arm when I go to do a through hike. She's not interested in a through hike, but does enjoy getting out and hiking, 12-mile hikes and camping out at campsites, cooking over a stove and eating trail food and stuff like that, looking at the views. And the other end of the spectrum is pretty much hike solo. So all my winter hikes have been solo, and most of the rough stuff that I've been doing has been solo. I do tend to stay on populated trails for now, so solo isn't really solo. When you get to a shelter on the Appalachian Trail, there tends to be a bunch of other people, anywhere from 3 to 30, and there's a real neat community atmosphere there that you can hang out and talk and tell stories around a campfire or at the picnic table at night, or you can just hang out by your tent and not do that if you don't really want to. So those are my two things there. I hike with my wife and I hike solo.
Okay, one more. So what kinds of things bring you out to the trail? What do you look for when you look for a trail?
So what are some of the things I look for in a trail? Well, I like cool views, interesting things to see, neat sights, places of interest. When my wife and I first started hiking, one of our first hikes was up Mount Washington, and we stayed in the huts on the way up. That was really cool, and it was short legs. We went up to the top, we stayed, and then we came back down, and we used the Amonoosuc Ravine Trail, which was very pretty. Waterfalls, we love waterfalls. There were so many cool waterfalls on that trail. Shenandoah National Park has a lot of really cool waterfalls. We go there, and let's see, what else did we do? We hiked up Mount Fuji when we went to Japan and did a trip there and decided to hike that, which was very challenging but fun. Hey, whoa, I almost forgot to tag somebody. So I'm going to tag Couch to Trail channel. I'll put that link down below. Tag, you are it.